You can't be serious about that, can you?
I'm very serious about it.
I give him credit for that because there's a lot for running away when he got tired. The bravery. Sorry. Sorry. From round one, running away, jumping up and down, falling down on the floor. Yeah.
$1 million.
He did not, but go ahead.
For a clown show. For a freaking clown show. Jake Paul embarrassed himself, embarrassed the sport, and embarrassed everyone that calls himself a fighter.
Boom. The cameras were still rolling when Stephen A. Smith went straight at Jake Paul after his shocking knockout loss to Anthony Joshua, turning a routine interview into must-see drama. Smith challenged Jake's mindset, questioning why he would step in so early with a heavyweight operating at the very top level, calling it a reckless and dangerous gamble that could derail any rising career. Jake, however, didn't flinch. With calm confidence, he pushed back, saying he still has everything needed to succeed: belief, hunger, elite preparation, and the best team money can buy working behind the scenes. He pointed to his training, discipline, and long-term vision, insisting one brutal loss doesn't define him. Instead of retreating, Jake framed the defeat as fuel, a hard lesson that strengthens his resolve. He made it clear this knockout is not the end of his boxing journey, but a moment that will sharpen him.
I need a few more fights. I'm not taking him on in my next bout, but a couple more years of experience with the team I got. I'm surrounded by the best team in the world possible that money can afford, so I'm getting exponentially better.
After Jake Paul's clash with Anthony Joshua, Logan Paul fired back at the storm of reactions, brushing off much of the noise as predictable hate that would exist no matter the outcome. He explained that stepping onto this level of boxing guarantees criticism, and this fight was no exception. Logan reminded fans that no one realistically expected Jake to beat a two-time Olympian, yet his confidence and willingness to try still mattered. He pointed to Jake's mindset as the real story, especially after suffering a broken jaw. Even in the hospital, Jake stayed upbeat, joking, filming content, and showing genuine love for the grind. Logan stressed that pushing through fear, pain, and public doubt is what fuels Jake's journey. To him, the loss was a net positive, proving toughness, resilience, and the courage to attempt challenges most people would never dare face, earning respect through perseverance, not just victories.
These are haters. Haters gonna hate. It's just the name of the game, you know. When you're operating at the high level that my brother and I are, haters come with it. I mean, statistically speaking, part-timer, I think the narrative's dead. I've been showing up every single Monday past month and a half. I've wrestled in 4 out of the 5 times I was there. I won every single match. So, like, everyone who's yapping can now shut their trap because the narrative's dead.
I mean, you brought the receipts. I think that the proof stands for itself. And you mentioned your brother. Jake went 6 rounds on Friday night with Anthony Joshua. I know how proud you are of him. You were in the hospital with him afterwards. You called him an absolute warrior and said on your Instagram that his broken jaw won't break his spirit. How did you think, and what did you think of how the fight went down?
So, from strictly a logical point of view, I actually think it went down exactly as it was supposed to. I'm not sure anyone really thought that Jake was going to beat Anthony Joshua, but you have to understand, being his brother and in his close circle, he has this conviction that makes you believe, and he has this ability to defy reality and morph it into his vision of how it'll transpire that makes you think he'll win. However, like, this was my opinion, this was a logical conclusion to the fight. The 2-time Olympian broke the influencer boxer's jaw. Like, okay, you know, we could have wrote it in a story and it would have made sense. That said, I think he did amazing. I'm incredibly proud of him. I think it was a net positive. I think the world can see now how tough Jake Paul is. And
Eddie Hearn stepped in to add much-needed context to Jake Paul's performance against Anthony Joshua, pushing back hard against critics who dismissed it as nothing more than running. Hearn explained that from the opening bell, the reality was obvious. Jake had virtually no chance of beating a fighter of Joshua's elite caliber. Because of that, the goal was never domination, it was survival. According to Hearn, the real question was how long Jake could last, and on that front, he shocked almost everyone. Many doubted he would endure even a couple of rounds, yet Jake stayed in the fight for all 6, absorbing pressure, power, and the technical skill of a top-tier heavyweight. While he wasn't competitive in the traditional sense, Hearn stressed that simply surviving under those conditions is a serious achievement. lasting 6 rounds against Anthony Joshua showcased Jake's toughness, discipline, and mental strength, proving he can handle extreme pressure. Even in defeat, Hearn believes the effort deserves respect for what it revealed about Jake's resilience and courage.
Jake was running and Jake was holding back. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, Jake had one job, and that was to try and survive. I mean, he was never, ever going to win the fight, ever. And if you would have said to me, do I think he'll go 6 rounds? I would have said absolutely not. I mean, I felt that it would take AJ a couple of rounds to get hold of him, because I knew Jake can move a bit, and he'd be moving off the back foot, and he'd be holding. But it was the way that he did it, I think, was actually quite impressive. Like, not that particular part, but the way that he would, the way that he was strong in the clinch. He wouldn't let AJ get his shots off in the clinch. He made him miss a few times. And obviously, AJ's been out of the ring for a while. To be honest, I think the most fascinating thing of the whole night in terms of the fight was how he didn't get flatlined by that right hand. I mean, I said going into the fight, it's probably going to take AJ a few rounds to get hold of him. And I also said, as soon as he lands clean, fight's over, right? He landed a few before, but the first that he landed really clean was the final shot. But, he never flatlined Jake. I mean, he did break his jaw in 2 places, which is a disaster. But there are a lot of heavyweights that would have been out-told from that right hand. I mean, one of them was Francis Ngannou, pretty similar shot, really. Do you know what I mean? So I actually give Jake unbelievable credit for doing it in the first place, but his performance as well. I mean, I stand by the fact that I think he's decent cruiserweight, but he did go in with Anthony Joshua, and the world is full of criticism and opinions and negativity. Who else is doing what he's doing? What is he, late 20s? It's quite phenomenal. I mean, the guy's a complete madman. I'm watching him come out to that ring walk, and he's just an incredible...
Stephen A. Smith doubled down on his criticism, making it clear that Jake Paul cannot hide behind his YouTuber label when sharing the ring with an elite like Anthony Joshua. Smith argued that once Jake accepts fights at this level, the crossover narrative disappears. According to him, if Jake still sees himself primarily as a content creator, then he has no business facing top-tier professional boxers. Smith stressed that these matchups demand complete commitment, discipline, and respect for the sport's highest standards. Fame, followers, and viral moments mean nothing when fists are flying against world-class opposition. In Smith's view, stepping into high-stakes bouts requires embracing the full reality of professional boxing, not leaning on celebrity status or past success online. Against fighters like Joshua, excuses don't exist.
Boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very seriously.
Thank you. So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing, and I know how he does all this character and the persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer, but then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly.
He can fight. He can fight. I respect him. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting.
Derek Shazora refused to offer Jake Paul real respect following his fight with Anthony Joshua, pushing back strongly against the idea that simply stepping into the ring equals bravery. He dismissed claims from figures like Chris Eubank Jr., who argued Jake deserved credit just for lasting 6 rounds, saying that mindset lowers the standard of true combat courage. Shazora pointed out that Jake spent much of the fight running, avoiding exchanges, slipping to the canvas, and throwing very few meaningful punches. To him, survival for money is not bravery. He argued that real bravery means risking everything for a greater purpose, such as fighting for your country or standing for something beyond personal gain. While Shazora acknowledged Jake committed to the event, he made it clear that lasting 6 rounds against an elite professional does not automatically earn respect for skill or heart. He also criticized Jake for turning defeat into social media content, suggesting that chasing clicks after a loss shows a performance mindset, not true fighting courage.
You're fighting someone who you're supposed to have, not supposed to look competitive, he's not supposed to hit you, he's not supposed to go more than 3 rounds, but at the same time, you need to know how to control the pressure. I think AJ's demeanor in the build-up was someone who was like, you know what, everyone's saying these things, but this is how I see it. Yeah, I rate him, box a bit. He did say in an interview with Steve Bunce that like, when he was talking certain things, there's a part of me that wants to punch him in his face, but I'm just going to chill. And I feel like that's how he handled the immense pressure. the last time we saw AJ fuming at this, like when he actually tried to do something, was with Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
So we should not judge him when he says something like this, because when he don't say nothing, we say, oh, why is he not saying anything back?
Yeah.
And when he says something, we're like, oh.
Many analysts and boxing insiders were brutal in their assessment of Jake Paul's fight against Anthony Joshua, calling it a freak show that disrespected the sport. Critics highlighted how Jake spent more time avoiding exchanges, grabbing, and running, showing little real skill or bravery, and turning the bout into content for social media rather than a legitimate boxing contest. Promoters like Ben Shalom warned that such crossover events are dangerous and risk serious injury, undermining boxing's reputation while prioritizing quick money over safety. Duke McKenzie echoed the sentiment, criticizing the weak level of competition and stressing that true boxing requires discipline, fundamentals, and proper coaching, elements Jake clearly lacked. Analysts agreed Joshua held back, and Jake's survival was far from impressive in terms of skill or courage. This fight, they concluded, was a money-driven spectacle rather than a competitive bout. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more exclusive boxing insights and hot takes. Don't miss out.